Okay, so after a shitload of technical difficulty.
Bad. That was a lot of bad stuff.
All sorts of bad.
Ooh, I'm going to hang out by the mic.
Wrong that we could.
It's okay.
We're just going to do this thing. Today's episode is sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Also,
it's not even Dunkin' Coffee.
What? Did you bring yours with you?
Never
mind.
But it's not sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts, although we'll take sponsorship. It is sponsored by Nat 20 Printing. Check out these sweet Sharkosaurus Rex.
Truly.
Boop, 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 boop.
Sharkosaurus Rex.
Gonna buy you. Here's a baby one.
Yeah. And that is no joke. Nat 20 Printing for all of your 3D printing needs.
All your Printosaurus needs.
Yeah, check us out.
We've got all sorts of crazy prints.
Mm-hmm. So today we're doing something a little different, a little fun. Normally we have like a subject, and we like to talk about these subjects, or sometimes we create some like pieces of the world.
Sometimes we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
And that's one of those. Today is one of those days.
Yep.
On all accounts.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, as you can see, we are recording. This is not our normal recording area. This is my home, and it's different, but that's okay. That's okay. It's gonna be fun. But today we are going to go over some hot takes.
Hot takes.
That's what we're going to call this. Hot takes raw. Raw hot
uncensored
takes.
On this casting couch.
On the yes. Exactly.
It's not actually leather, though, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count at all.
I mean, it's a cheap casting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Isn't all casting couches cheap?
Yeah.
At least what's on them. But we're going to do that. So we've made some lists, some fun things, some more serious subjects. And basically we're going to round robin this. Mm-hmm. And one of us is going to throw out a hot take for the other two. And the other two need to answer like pretty quickly. And then if we decide to have a discussion, we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about it a little bit.
So we'll have the chance to pause on that and be like, what?
Wait, yeah.
But
why are you wrong?
But we're going for, 10 seconds or less answer, just the top of the head first.
Yeah.
First.
That's what we're going to go with.
And then if we exhaust all that, we might chat for a little bit about what's coming next and what's going on.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. So who would like to start us out? You want me to start us out?
Break it down.
Okay, so I got mine on paper because
he's an old man.
Because I'm old, and I don't like trees. No, I like trees. I'm kidding. So we're going to start off with best class. What's the best class? Rogue.
Cleric.
Cleric. Okay. Any particular reasons why these are your best classes? Why they're the best? I know these are different systems, but I don't care.
Okay, so I think Rogue, just because Rogue's had the most skills. If they can get in behind somebody and basically almost one-shot most people.
At lower levels.
At lower levels, they can come in and just end a fight before it even starts. And
So clerics, they're healers. They're proficient at it. They also can rain fire from the heavens. That's cool.
Here's the problem, though. If a rogue gets to the fight first, you don't even need the cleric. The rogue ended it before it started.
I mean, you're not wrong. So I actually, as Andrew was talking, wanted to change my answer, but I have to stick with it because I've already done it.
Okay.
But if I had choice now, I would say Bard.
Bard. Okay.
At least in 5e. Not because they're horny, but because they get healing spells and arcane spells.
And they get wish, don't they?
Like they're a mage with healing spells. How do you lose?
They get wish.
Okay.
They can cure who? Anyway, but
well, before we move on, who are we?
Oh.
Well, I'm Matt.
Oh crap! I have 10 seconds.
Oh no! I forgot. Oh, I'm Matt.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Edward.
And we're the Groundbreakers. World building podcast, which we might talk about world building today. It might come up. We might not. We don't really know. We don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. So that's my first hot take, guys.
Well, what was yours?
Oh, my best class? Oh, heck, do I have to answer as well?
Yeah.
Fuck. I like Oracle a lot. Even back in Pathfinder 1, I really liked Oracle. Being able to take a bunch of negatives to gain a bunch of power is kind of interesting for character building. That's my best class when it comes to role-playing. Although, you can go too far into that, too. So a character with too many negatives starts to feel kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, my cleric, my oracle's cool. He has no legs or arms. You got to wheelbarrow him around.
All right.
You know,
I mean, hey, you know.
That wouldn't be fun.
All right, so what is the best race?
Or ancestry.
Not racist wise, but D&D wise.
So ancestry is what we're talking about. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh boy.
3 white guys talking about this isn't a good idea.
Somewhat, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we did make Minonians.
Yeah, that's true.
My vote, it's a one I didn't think I would answer until just now. Halflings.
Halflings.
That's interesting.
I'm a half-orc guy. I like half-orcs a lot.
Half-orcs?
I like half-orcs.
You know, I find myself going human a lot.
That is a good, just basic class. And there's no or ancestry. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. I mean, it's all about the backstory and the flavor and stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is. But
I like the half-orc because you can play that, like, underdog, underestimated character. Like, you just can. Like, you can be like, oh, well, there's a half-orc, he's probably really gruff, and have him be, like, a cleric with robes if you really want him to be.
Sure.
True.
You know, I like that.
I really like halflings just because everything that a halfling does is a little bit more ridiculous than if it's another class. Like, I know you played the halfling barbarian.
As a gnome, actually.
Or as a gnome. Oh, no.
Oh, no. He doesn't know what he's talking about, guys.
But I have played halfling rangers, and it's just a really fun image in my head. Having this little tiny, diminutive fella fighting 8-foot tall, 9-foot, 20-foot tall monsters is...
Yeah.
It's fair.
Riding dogs or wolves if you wanted to, and that's pretty cool. Okay.
What you got?
Okay, I'm going to go off of D&D, and I'm going to fast or slow zombies.
Fast zombies.
Fast zombies.
I'm going slow. I like slow zombies.
So, that's a complicated question. If we were going raw, like D&D, like book terms, it's kind of whatever, because it's not like you have to hit them in the head and shatter their boat. You know, like, they just take damage and they die. And if that's the case, I need them to be threatening more than others, right? Now, if we were saying, well, you have to shoot them in the head and crush their head, then slow zombies are terrifying.
Yes.
Right? But just raw rules.
But both are equally frightening in their own right and setting. I like the thought of fast zombies making noise. Like a lot of noise.
Right.
Like they're running, they're like gashing, they're like, you know, sometimes howling or screaming maybe.
Right.
While the slow zombie can literally be hiding in a closet.
Yeah.
Like, that person died in a closet. And you're walking down the hallway, you know, you made some noise, now that thing's going to bust in on you.
Yep.
It's good.
Yeah. Okay.
And over time, the smell goes away. So
Why slow?
They're just creepier to me. Like, 28 days later, like if you have like a 28 days later zombie, because they're zombies, running at you, you're probably dead, but it's going to be quick and it's going to be done. But if you got a horde of slow zombies coming towards you, you have time to sit there and go,
You contemplate your toughness.
Like, oh shit, there's...
That's fair.
what do we do about that?
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah, it's two different kinds of horror, speaking of Halloween and all that.
Yeah.
It is two completely different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I got one. Okay, so you guys are playing a RPG, but set in an office setting. Okay, in a boring office setting.
Offices and bosses.
What class would you play? Not a D&D class, but the office. Yeah, offices and bosses.
Oh no. Energy vampire?
Energy vampire. Okay.
Watching What We Do in the Shadows too much.
Water delivery guy.
I guess by default, mid-level manager.
Mid-level manager. That's good. All right. Do we want to dip into that?
No, so leave it.
Sounds good.
So kind of with the horror theme you asked. Oh my goodness. All right. So what game do you think sets the best horror environment, like the creepy environment?
Resident Evil 7.
Oof. BioShock. I'm going to go original BioShock.
That's good.
It's my favorite. Because... Okay, I'll let you answer first.
I think Dead Space.
Okay,
For me.
all three of those are good answers,
Right.
and those are three different types of horror.
They are.
Yeah.
They all have like a creepy feel. All three of them do, but in my opinion, like BioShock does have supernatural elements, but at the ground level, these are all people.
Right.
They're all just people and doing horrible things. Yeah, they're all.
That's true.
Methed out
That's true.
people with powers, and that to me is scarier, because what do you do when you give those kind of powers to someone that just craves more and more and more?
Right.
And that's what happens. Like you see the pianist that he like plasters people and makes them into to statues and drives himself insane. Yeah, that's me though.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Like, it's the same kind of like thought process for why I said Resident Evil 7. Specifically 7 for a couple reasons. One, because it's a completely it's the first Resident Evil that's the first time it went first person, right? And maybe it's just because I've been walking through it again, but like going through and after you know what's going on in the story, like looking around these people's house and see like what has happened to them and seeing how far they have fallen. And you can still see like where it in any other story this house isn't creepy, except like you can see how they used to be versus how they are now after they got corrupted. And stuff that's like creepy now, if you walked in on any other day, it's like, oh, that's a nice like family picture there. Yeah. But you look at it now and you're like, what?
Why?
Right. So I'm actually playing Resident Evil 7. I started the other day because it's on Xbox Game Pass on the PC. Yeah. But Dead Space, for the classic reason, I think. So you're isolated and alone. I mean, literally alone. Anyone. It does a great job at. I think the sound is really good because you have that space gap of silence and just like the crinkling, like cranking of the ship, like
it sets a tone.
It just sets a great tone, even when nothing's going on, because it could be going on.
Right.
It's one of the first games I can remember, younger, where like a dead enemy was not a dead enemy. And I was not prepared. I mean, I'm gonna smash everything to the ground. And, it just sets a great environment, I think.
Quick call out to PT. Just being like, if you have it on a PlayStation somewhere, boot it back up. It's perfect. So,
actually, maybe it's before I'm going to preface this by saying I'm an aliens versus alien person. I really dig how Dead Space 2 sets the tone like immediately, and you can tell you're in for a different game.
Yeah. Like right from the beginning, you're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. Like your cutscene ends, and then within 30 seconds, your heart rate's already going. What the fuck am I doing?
So I started streaming Dead Space a while back, and I had some horrible frame rate issues, and it would be fixed now. But I would love to continue playing that, streaming it. I wish I could get. I mean, I could, but they're expensive. Like the heart rate monitor you strap to, where it like shows it on the Switch team, like where you're.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean, I was playing the last time I played Dead Space Live. I screamed like a girl. Just saying.
That's the best. That's the best. That's an idea. Maybe some of us should get together and play Man of Medan. It's a 2-player co-op horror game. Basically, it's kind of like a whodunit or who is the killer type game, but supernatural. But both players don't know who each other are, and there's like multiple characters. Right. And you don't know who the other player is.
I'm all about it.
So, it's kind of interesting.
Right. Heck yeah.
So check it out.
All right. Anyway, hot takes. What you got?
I guess keeping in this horror thing, werewolf or a vampire?
Vampire?
To
be? Or to fight?
Let's say to fight.
To fight?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, no.
To fight?
Werewolf. To be vampire.
Yeah.
Enough said.
We all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad whenever we all agree on something. So
All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh dang. Okay. I don't have any spooky stuff. Okay. RoboCop versus Judge Dredd. Who beats the other one in fights?
I think I like Dread better, but I think RoboCop wins.
So I'm a novice at that, but I would say RoboCop.
Okay. I think Dredd actually wins the fight, personally. Because RoboCop got taken out by a 12-year-old boy
Okay.
with an electrode.
I
So,
guess that's fair.
just saying.
Yeah.
Best max level spell.
I don't know.
Say something.
Max level spell?
Max level spell.
Is Meteor Max? No, maybe not. I mean, Wish is like a contender, right? Like,
I mean, it is.
I mean,
Yeah, because you can do anything with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we say that, and I don't know what my answer is because I wasn't prepared to answer it. But
yeah,
you say Wish, and it's a default. But at the same time, it takes.
a lot.
It's expensive, and it
Yeah.
takes a day to cast or something.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you can't
like
do it
a
in
ritual.
combat. It's a year cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
There's limitations to that.
They really
in
are.
a general setting.
And
Right.
just like anything else, depending on how your DM is, you might need to be a little bit more specific on exactly
yeah,
what
you
you
could
want.
get fucked.
Yeah.
So there might be other spells more useful. I don't know. What
Not
it is.
like Jin fucked, but
Yeah. So hey, speaking of that, side note. So in Pathfinder, in D&D 5, they've done a good job at everything scales.
Mhm.
So I could cast Magic Missile at level 9 if I wanted to be. Does it same way like have a good scaling?
it's called the heightened system. Basically, you take the spell at a heightened slot. So you're like, okay, I want to cast Magic Missile, but at level 9.
Yeah, that's kind of what.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Except cantrips, they heighten automatically.
As you level
Yeah,
up.
that's great.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean a lot of D&D spells deal more damage and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's say, while we're talking about that kind of stuff, is combat overrated?
Ooh. Is combat overrated?
Or, yeah, I can't think of another way to.
So if you play Adventure League or Pathfinder Society,
Pathfinder Society. Yeah.
get ready to fight a lot because that's what you're going to do. The role playing isn't as much, and you're going to fight a lot. And you might be at a table with someone that's played this encounter. I mean, this module. I don't know, 5 or 6 times.
Yep.
So you might have a player being like, "Go here and go here and go here and go here and go here," and now we're done.
Yeah.
And that's lame.
I think
But that's more of a society problem.
short answer yes. But that comes with age. When you start new players, it's easy to latch on to the combat side of it because oftentimes we're shy to roleplay anyway. But I think that, call it what you will, but the Matthew Mercer effect has shifted people thinking about storylining and role-playing a little bit more.
Right.
I agree.
As a whole.
Well,
Not that we're there, but so you still got that new player rush, but I think it's shifting because we see the storylining of it
you do.
Right.
with the popularity.
The ground of Dungeons and Dragons, Gygaxian ground, is literally
Yeah.
we're going to put you in front of a dungeon and you're going to go in there and you're going to kill things and get treasure.
That's how. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
To start,
because it's a war game.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
And I see nothing wrong with that if that's what your players want.
Right.
If you sit down at the table and you're like, hey, do you want like a cool, like old school, let's fight it out,
Dungeon.
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's still going here.
Oh, okay. We're good. We're good. We thought we lost you there for a
but,
second. And I think that's fine if that's really what your players want.
I think, and you know this, we all know this, for us and our games, combat's overrated.
Yeah. I like
And our play styles, combat's overrated.
I might have 2 combats a session.
Right.
Maybe, sometimes
Right.
3 if my players get...
And when it gets too long, I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to push along.
Like, I've had a couple sessions in my big campaign that I had where we didn't fight at all. There wasn't any. It was just a lot
And
of.
that's okay. I've
yeah.
spent.
I think you need to take a good hard look at your character makeup too. If you have a fighter and they're like, "Hey, listen, I don't have any skills," like that way you need to give them like athletic skill challenges or something like that.
I mean, really, you're looking for three things in role playing. We're getting way off the hot takes, but
Yes, we are.
you're looking for three things. You're looking for combat.
Mm-hmm.
People do want. I mean, it's exciting. You get to conquer insurmountable odds. Like combat's there, and it's exciting, and you get loot from it, and that's instinctive. Like look at Borderlands. Like that's instinctive. What we want.
Yeah.
But we're looking for exploration.
Yeah.
Which is the skill checks and the discovering and uncovering things, and then you're looking for social interaction. Like those are the three. So you have to have a good meld.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree. So I'm going to drop this one. Pizza plus
Ranch.
Barbecue.
I
mean, I just love barbecue and everything.
I'm going to go pizza plus pizza.
Pizza
More
plus pizza.
pizza. Because I'm a fatty.
Enough said. Pizza plus pizza. Two-hand or dual-wield?
Two-hand.
Two-hander?
Two-hander.
Dual wield.
I'm a dual-wield myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. What you got?
Oh well.
Oh, we're done.
Yep, I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
Matt, you got that. You got outvoted. There you go.
Fuck.
It's just better.
Yep.
Shit.
Okay, here's a random one. Is Game of Thrones still good?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is still good.
Yeah.
Even though, as a war gamer and someone that likes to study battlefields and stuff like that, I'll look at that last season and I scream and I scream and I scream.
Most people do, even if they don't.
About the tactics involved in that whole last season, because they made some smart tactical decisions in the previous season.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like they done the battlefields correctly, smart decisions. Well, how these battles are supposed to be laid out, and then they're just like, why don't we just not?
Yeah. How about we just?
What if we've lost
You know
all
that
of
shit
our?
we done? Fuck it.
Yeah, and the thing is though, each side had people that knew how to fight.
Right.
Like you had the Golden Company.
Yep.
That are trained fucking mercenaries that have won multiple battles.
Yeah.
Just fell.
Yeah.
And then in the Battle of Winterfell, you had
Catapults outside
the walls. You had
in front of their trenches.
yeah,
Or were they behind the trenches?
and throwing a cavalry charge into darkness.
Yeah.
You gotta have cannon fodder.
Anyway,
Still good though,
but it's
especially
still
like
good.
the story building, the telling.
Yeah.
still good.
Because I think like 10 years from now, when the ending is cooled off, that show is still going to be like a show that everybody just kind of agrees ended poorly. But I feel like the first like 5-6 years are going to be
Right.
well remembered.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
Okay. I want to do a serious one here. Okay, what is the first thing you notice about a new person at your table? Like, what's the first thing that you really want to notice and latch onto?
Wow. That got deep.
Did that get a little deep?
I don't know. What should I notice? What do I?
Yeah.
Want
What
to
was the
notice?
first thing you should notice? Yeah.
I think the engagement level.
Yeah, trying to figure out what engages them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our playstyles engagement level, like how into this are you on your phone or whatever. But and then their level of comfort with the improv roleplay situation. Because you got to draw it out of them.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what makes me happy a lot, and I've seen this a couple of times through the years. When we're sitting at a table and we're playing, and they're kind of enthralled at things, and then they ask me to see my books, and they're looking through the books, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is kind of cool," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks later, they have went out and bought a book.
Yeah.
That shows me that they have at least $60 invested into what they care about. And that hits me in the heart, because I'm like, okay, this person actually is invested,
care.
and they care, and they want to play.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that seems like money, but it's important to me.
I've been in a lot of games, or run a lot of games. Been is the wrong term, but where even if they are super engaged, I'd say that strongly, but you don't always get that direct feedback of they're actually into this.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like they might play and they might be all right, but they seem kind of indifferent. And as a DM, or game runner, like it's hard to know if you hit the spot or not sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful.
When it's their turn and they know what they want to do,
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
right? like Joe just finished, and Jill is like, "I'm doing this,"
Right.
and you're like,
You
"What?"
You paid attention to the field that's happening.
Yeah.
You've let the theater. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like God, that's good.
All right. What is your favorite creature to throw at a party?
Ooh.
Favorite creature to throw. Humans.
Just
Yes.
normal old
Straight up.
humans.
Yeah.
So I like. Okay, there's layers to this. Level 1 parties. I mean, I'm pretty traditional, so I really like goblins, skeletons, zombies. I like those three things.
Yeah.
I think it gives a good sense of what Dungeons and Dragons really kind of is at the heart and the soul of the game.
Yeah.
But lately, I've been spicing it up with those three things. I had like fungus zombies recently, and last year I had like these skeletons that were actually controlled by a enemy further in the dungeon, like through root systems, and like its roots would like put the skeleton back together, and you'd have to fight it.
Yeah.
And I just like you can take those three things and change it and make them new over and over again.
Yeah. Obviously, it's Sharkosaurus
Yeah, those are cool.
Clearly.
by Nat 20 Printing.
Oh no.
No.
We can't go corporate this early.
All right. No. I'm with you. I find myself going undead a lot, and it's not intentional. It's not like when you say favorite, that's a strong word because it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's a staple. And as much as I like to give them the moral quandary of like, is this really evil or whatever? Like, it's pretty straightforward. They're evil. You can kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's where it's at. And you can do it in all sorts of different ways, like you're saying. Like we can have the fast zombie, or the slow zombie, or the smash your head zombie, or
Fungus zombie.
it just I find myself to undead a lot.
I think that's maybe just because I'm thinking of this new campaign that I'm going to be starting. But my last year-long campaign was a lot of undead things, and I think I'm just trying to move away from that. But like a human,
They're the dangerous game. Like they can do anything. Like
That's true.
Like bandits.
yeah, they can be they can throw magic. They can come up and stab you to death. They can try and talk their way out because they're people and they're just going to try and win and survive.
Yeah.
But a goblin, to me, maybe I'm being racist against goblins, but goblins are always going to goblin. But humans...
Goblin be goblin.
Yeah, yeah, but humans can be...
I think that's undead. Like if we're doing level 1, here's some zombies, for instance. There's a beauty in that too because zombie on a zombie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said. So for one, if they're new players, they know the stakes of the game.
Right.
You throw a zombie, they know the stakes of the game, right? Like a human, you can throw them all sorts of curveballs, and if they're not ready for it, whatever. Because humans can act in dangerous ways. Zombies are zombies. They're gonna be zombieing. But that's not always true.
Mm-hmm.
So you can you can run the scenarios or the combats because usually you're having a little bit more, especially with new players.
Mm-hmm.
Combat, you can run those scenarios. They can deal with them over and over and over. Throughout the session, and they're like, okay, this is the stipulations of the engagement. Except then you can throw the zombie curveball, still, without the too much deviation.
Right.
If that makes sense. Or I'm rambling. I don't fucking know.
You up? Or is it me?
I think it's me now.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
In terms of characters, do you prefer martial or magic characters?
To play as?
Yeah, to play as.
Okay.
Martial or magic?
I've been playing a lot of Magic lately. I mean, the last characters I've played have been Magic based. I like a martial character, but Magic just has that damn toolbox. So I'm probably gonna go Magic.
Realizing the small amount that I actually play characters doesn't help, but for a role-playing setting, usually Magic. I find myself playing a lot of martial characters in video games, but Magic hits it.
Mm-hmm.
I always prefer just to have a sword or a bow. Like,
Okay.
Right.
For some reason, when I'm playing a character, I can look at, like, I understand that, hey, I have this in my hands. I can imagine, like, I'm going to, like, swing down or I'm going to do some weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at my spell list, I usually find, like, 2 spells. I'm like, these are my spells. This was what I'm going to
Okay.
do. And
So you don't look at it as much as like a toolbox.
I'm like, I know this is going to hit. Like my the last like wizard character was that I had the shocking grasp or whatever. I didn't have to use anything else.
I get that. I used to do that a lot. I think in the same way. I try to challenge myself now. If I have a bunch of spells, I'm like, how can I use this out of the box unorthodoxly? And I'm trying to similar things like, how can we use this toolkit in a way that's not, because otherwise we'll fall into it.
So there's a couple ways you can build that. You can just tell yourself you're not going to take the same things you always take. You can just be like, I'm not taking Magic Missile. I'm not taking Fireball. I'm going to take ventriloquism.
You're not going to take Fireball?
Prestidigitation.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ghost Sound. Hello. You know, like, just use things differently.
Yeah.
You know. Minis or no minis?
Minis.
Yeah.
Minis. I agree. I like minis.
And to preface that, I like Theater of Mind too, and I'm totally okay with it. I did that for years without many minis or any.
I ran my last campaign. Really had.
I mean, I bought a 3D printer and I'm printing minis, so obviously, I'm on the mini train.
Mm-hmm.
And I consider I've really enjoyed doing digital mapping lately. When Lord knows Matt has.
Oh yes.
But even like the dungeon mapping and stuff. So, I don't know. I like minis though. I might alternate every session. There might be a session where I'm doing a lot of Theater of Mind, and there's not a major combat that requires it. Yeah. It's a lot of work sometimes. But if there's going to be a big combat, I probably want more minis at it.
I think that's my deal. Is because we already established that combat at this point it's not my favorite thing to do.
Right.
So if I can avoid a combat, I want to have the minis there in case we do have a combat, but because it does just make it a lot easier to you have it out on the board and you can be like, you're here and you're here. You don't have to imagine it's there, but it's a lot easier to have a combat. If I'm
going to do the mini thing, I've got a combat in mind. Like a boss battle, for instance, boss battle or whatever. It's a big encounter, and it's planned out. Because otherwise, if it's just gonna be like, they're gonna run into these guards or whatever, like they could get away from it. And I expect them to do all. Like I'm not gonna take the time to plan all of that and map everything for a small encounter, right? Yeah. But the big encounter.
I want to just throw another one out because I got a lot on my list.
Fair.
And this is gonna be a fun one. Best D&D snacking foods. What do you like to snack on?
Apparently mine has become taquitos because we have taquitos like every D&D night.
Okay.
I feel like pizzas are stand-by, but I really like having like a little trail mix or something just to get some sweet and salty stuff going.
I'm trying to move away from the meals because after you eat the pizza, some people might get sluggish or something like that. I like dips and chips
and
a lot.
Yeah.
It's just when you have the paper, it gets the grease on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I like the chips and the dips, but I really like a veggie tray sometimes.
Yeah. That was good.
Yeah. There's something like light.
Yeah.
I find myself doing a lot of, not even just chips and dip, but things with dip and stuff like that. And taquitos. For some reason, there's always taquitos. There's always taquitos.
They're small. You can just pick them up.
Yeah.
Eat
You just have a little plate of 3.
Crunch them.
Yeah.
Get that.
You walk in to a medieval fantasy tavern.
Okay.
What do you order?
The special.
Oh,
Order
that's a
the
cop
special.
out.
No, I would probably order something wild. Something wild on the menu. Local and wild.
So local beast
Yeah, local beast.
killed recently.
I feel like my characters all the time just have rations on them, so I usually go in and just buy an ale. I'm gonna be
You
lame
just
as shit. But
Eat hardtack.
Let's think
And
about
drink
this
some ale.
this person's horrible existence for a minute. Can we? Like you're out and about and you're traveling and you're eating rations, and it's not like they're the best. Like let's talk about rations.
I can go
right?
get some rations.
Yeah,
real
I mean,
quick.
like, so you're eating rations, and you get to a civilization, and you're
Yeah.
like, thank God.
And then you're
I
like,
can
I got
actually-
these more rations.
I'm gonna eat rations outside.
I feel like I just never think about that, but like going in and being like, "Fuck, I have had a hard day. Let me drink some. Let me get drunk and forget about this." Like we fought like an eldritch horror like 2 days ago. Now we're here. I'm drinking and I'm going to sleep.
How often?
So-
Not that it's necessary. How often do you find your characters taking a shower?
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's something that you can award for time to time. So if your players are out there and they're eating the rations and they're writing it down on their character sheets and they do get to town and one player does like, oh, I'm going to walk into this place and I'm going to be like, hey, I want the best thing on the menu, and they have a discussion.
Right.
Give them an inspiration
Give 'em a
point,
bonus or something.
something.
Yeah, I agree
You know
with
what I mean? And don't. I'm not saying like give it out every single time because then the rest of the players will catch on to that.
Yeah.
But the first person that does it, give them a point.
Hey, we just went through some shit. Literally. Can I take a shower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm stanky. I'm going to just dip in the river. Just real quick.
Let's see. Best fantasy creature.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
Where do you even begin? I'll say Mind Flayer, which is really D&D. It's not even fantasy, but because it's just a D&D creature, really. But I'm a huge fan of Lovecraft and where its origins are from, and I really do them.
Oh shit, man! I don't know. There's so many good creatures out there.
There is.
My mind skips a beat, but there's a Pathfinder creature and it's a level 1 CR, and what's cool about it is that it's from a different plane of existence, but it phases here to basically murder people, drag them back to wherever it's living, plant eggs into it so that they can hatch and eat that corpse, and then they phase back to their original plane.
Oh Lord.
No clue
So they
about that's terrifying.
so they use our plane of existence for a breeding ground,
Oh damn.
and then go back.
Damn.
Okay.
Hold on.
So we mentioned it a minute ago, but also I just love a goblin.
Goblins.
I love a goblin.
Yeah, goblins.
I
are
mean,
good.
with of course, WoW's had goblins as playable races and stuff like, and D&D has made them more of a mainstream race. But like we said, goblin be goblinin'. Goblins are crazy, and they can do anything, and it's just I love a good goblin.
This would be an acta. An acta. These so they come in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, this little guy right here. See, I don't know if you can see it on the stream, but it's
That's
this
that dude.
guy right here. They pop in and they either kill or subdue humanoid hosts. Then they wrap them into a cocoon and lay eggs into them.
Sexual.
Yep.
Lord.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say dragon for mine.
And
Straight
then
up dragon.
and then the corpse comes back as a void zombie.
That's a little bit like Slither. Did anyone ever see?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
See. A void
Okay.
zombie.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Nightmare fuel, that.
Yeah, it's cool. That is my favorite creature, though. I think right now, that's my favorite creature.
I mean, it's a stretch to call a goblin a creator anymore, but I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a damn race,
But-
like a normal
But
race.
goblins
in
are on
Pathfinder.
point. They're great.
Yeah, they are.
They're hilarious comedy relief. They can do some. I mean, they're just great.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I like goblins. that thing sounds really cool.
Yeah. I have a feeling that Magic the Gathering actually brought goblins into the forefront as in like an ingenuity type race.
Yeah,
because we started seeing that around like
stuff.
97 instead of them
Right.
just being like, "Hoo, I'm just a goblin."
Yeah.
Started seeing them
Right.
like with guns and
Yeah.
cannons around like 99,
And then, of course, WoW helped perpetuate.
Yeah,
that
and WoW, World of Warcraft.
with, all that stuff.
Oh, and Warhammer.
Yeah.
Both Warhammer and 40k. Both goblins and orcs became something different.
D&D really Raw sees kobolds more of the engineering side.
Yeah.
And goblins more of the
Savage?
junkyard.
Yeah, oh yeah. Salvage, more like it then.
Okay.
Me? Okay. What accessories can you not go without when you're playing D&D?
As a player,
As a DM. We're talking DM accessories here.
DM screen.
Do you do all your rolls behind a DM screen?
Mhm.
Preferably?
Preferably, yeah. If I can, I do.
literally could not do without. I mean,
Pencils.
other than like dice.
Like these are things that, like, you know, we're talking like outside the necessities of being like, what's...
creature comfort almost of it.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know. You do that a lot. There's a lot of things I use a lot of technology and I do a bunch of stuff like minis and stuff. But I mean, really, there's nothing I can't do without.
Okay.
I mean, if it comes down to it, theory of the mind, storytelling, like.
Mhm.
You don't really need it all if it comes down to it.
Mhm.
Besides some dice, maybe.
I mean, like you said, you talk about like digital things. I mean, I don't know if I can do without all the generators that I use nowadays.
Right.
Just because, and I don't even copy everything down off the generator. I'm just like, I just need an idea.
Right.
Just give me an idea for a second.
Right.
And then I take that and I'm like, okay, now I can go. You know what I mean? Like, I can take that and make it my
I can see
own.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of anything. At the end of the day, like,
Yeah.
not that I want to deal with a bunch of stuff that I use, because I'm bringing a whole suitcase full of shit, but,
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Okay.
If I had to do a one shot and we're just telling a story, let's just tell a story.
It'll be fun.
We should do that.
Hmm.
Improv story,
One shot.
one shot.
Good.
Write that down, audience. Anyway, okay. So, in your storytelling as a DM, comedy or drama? Preference-wise. I mean, obviously both, because we want to get a mix.
Yeah.
And I say drama
man.
loosely.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because none, like, you know.
The conundrum, the quandary,
Yeah. Damn.
Some of my favorite sessions have been ones where you've been like cracking up for like 2 hours, where like a bit's like you had a bit character that the players latched onto,
Right.
and then it just devolved or exploded up from there, and you just had a great like 2 hours. But I also really like getting to the end of like a story arc and having a session where shit is hitting the fan and stuff that your players have done the like 4 sessions ago is now like poking them on the shoulder, like, hey.
So yeah, you really want to mix. I really like to have a fun game, but at the end of the day, a dramatic moral choice or a dramatic just set piece or something happening is more rewarding at the end of the day for me. I'll give you an example. So I've ran this session twice now, and it's called The Sinking City, and they're dealing with like this cult, this crab people cult, who disguise themselves as humans, and they're pretty much trying to keep this city afloat by sacrificing large amounts of children to this demon. Well,
you do.
like you do. The last time I ran this session, to get out to the sinking city, you have to have a boat. And this time I was like, okay, my characters don't have a boat. I'm just going to give them like this elemental ice boat to travel out there. And I put like an elemental guy as like the not the captain, but like the helmsman of this boat. and I meant to make like a low like steam whistle sound, but instead I was just like toot, and it just cracked up my table. And I thought it was funny, and we made like toot jokes this whole time.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they had to choose to either deal with this demon and send her back to hell, or make a deal with the demon and sacrifice a small child to bring life to a desert.
Yeah.
And yeah, that bringing that life to that desert could have saved thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Right.
But instead they chose to kill this demon and save one life instead of others.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want a balance.
100% balance. I love comedy. I really do. And I love to build the story. We've talked about it in previous casts. The quandary, but you have to have players are going to add comedy because something stupid's going to happen, and it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, in a single session, if nothing was accomplished but everyone was laughing, no one's going to complain.
Yeah.
Right.
But if we do like television shows, like comedy shows, even the most episodic shows have a continuity.
Yeah.
Right? Like Rick and Morty or South Park, like even the most ridiculous, like this is contained, there's still a story.
Yeah.
That overarcs, because that's the way we storytell nowadays. In the past, that wasn't always the case, but
right.
So you still have to like push forward, I think. So I guess as a DM, I would prep the drama
and wait for the laughs.
Right. Because even if I try to prep, a little bit of comedy here and there, it's not always going to work.
Yeah. And I think, and that's really what you do. It's like you prep it as a serious ass game, and then things happen, and that's fine,
and that's okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't allow that comedy, like if I can't imagine being at a table and being like, "No, we have to take this seriously."
It's dark and dead, and everything's dying.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
it's called Curse
this
of
is
Strahd,
dumb.
and it is dark and dead and everything's dying. But if they want it to be Young Frankenstein, you let it be Young Frankenstein.
You let it be
Fuck
Young Frankenstein. Yeah. So true. So very true.
Let's see. I'll do a random one. If you're making a character, do you prefer point by, or rolling?
Veronica, are you sneaking through?
Yes, I am.
That is completely fine.
Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
point by.
Oh,
Personally.
we don't deal with that anymore. Like, yeah.
But it depends on the players. There's a lot of debate and what's most accurate, like efficient and all that. It doesn't matter at the end of the day unless you're min-maxing. But the standard point array is pretty solid. You can just hand them some numbers. Rolling is great because there's some excitement there and there's the gamble, except you end up with some shit sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm really okay with any of them, I guess, for my players. I'm like, if whatever you want to do.
I really liked what we got to where we were doing with our like big campaigns, where we got everybody together and rolled like.
So go ahead. No, you tell the story.
Like whenever we would be making characters, have our session 0, we get everybody together and we rolled like what?
You rolled
30, 40.
All the stats in a pool.
Everyone's stats in a pool, and then you let everybody pick.
Do you draft?
Yeah, everybody drafted them.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, because we had 5 players. There's 6 stats.
Right.
So you times that by 6, you roll up all of those, and then people draft.
The more rolls, the better the bell curve. So you're gonna minimize the shit. So,
Yeah.
I mean that's a smart way to do the roll, because everyone wants to throw the rolls, but not the shit that comes with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's cool when you get down to the bottom, like the bottom of the barrel. Okay, who wants this 7?
Yeah.
But making it collaborative too. Is real cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I think rolling for stats is best when you're going to do a one-shot. When these are going to be throwaway characters that you have a contained story, roll out those characters, because it doesn't fucking matter what they have on that sheet.
At the end of the day,
just have fun with it. That's what I like. What at the table is too much of a good thing?
I think we hit on it on one of the previous ones. I just try. anything that's too self-serious.
Okay.
Too
much seriousness.
Yeah, I like having like that serious moment. But if you tried and to sit there for like 3 hours and talk about everything is terrible, and when you thought it was worse, there came a thunderstorm, and the thunderstorm killed half the crops in the town, or any of that stuff.
Anything too much? I mean,
Yeah.
anything can be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the other side of that is if everybody is laughing and
the DMs goes,
yeah,
Right.
are you done?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, anything can be
yeah,
too much.
it's true.
All right, I said I was going to ask it. If you're looking at a Pomeranian, what class is it?
When I look at my Pomeranian and I stare at her eyes, and she looks back at mine, and we make our mental connection for that she is my familiar, and we both give each other a nod, she's a sorcerer.
Wait, she's your familiar? Are you sure you're not her familiar?
Fuck, you're right. Maybe I'm the familiar.
I've seen your Pomeranian do some roguish shit.
She is kind of a rogue.
but,
Well, she took a little bit. She took a level.
I've also seen her dance. I think she's Bard.
Oh, dang.
Which would fit all the bills.
Yeah.
Uh,
So true. Shout out to Kiara the Pomeranian.
Yeah.
She's not here right now, or else I'll pick her
I
up.
was like, I don't see it.
Yeah, dang. Oh well. My parents kidnapped her.
Do you prefer your combats or your rules to be less crunchy or more crunchy?
Crunch. I want all that crunch. But this comes from a wargamer. So.
What do you mean crunchy? Can you elaborate?
Okay, 3.5 is crunchy. D&D 5 is not.
As far as like crunching math?
Yeah, like math, like the game. You know what I mean? Like you need to get. There's in D&D 3.5, of course. There's like you got to have advantages and flat-footed and all this different stuff. D&D 5, you're either have an advantage or a disadvantage. That's it.
As a player, crunch. As a DM with a lot of new players, no crunch.
No crunch. So true. So very true.
I don't know who's going. Okay.
Oh,
I'm like, whose question was that?
I'll go.
Whose question is it?
Oh, my question. What really makes you angry?
Just in general with life. Well,
I don't know. I don't care.
What makes me angry?
All right, I'll start. At the table, it's definitely phone usage. Like literally, it's your turn. It's your turn. Hey, fine. Next person. Like,
Yeah.
that gets me.
I'll mimic that. Not phone usage, though. Just what we said earlier. It's your turn.
What did you...
You know what you're doing.
You've had 10 minutes.
It's the distraction level. We're a digital party. Both my games, digital character sheets.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
all for you to have your phone, your laptop. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But be paying attention. It's the attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you don't even know your turn or what's going on or.
Hey, babe.
I'm trying to think the angriest I've ever
We
been.
had Maggie on the camera for a minute.
There was a puppy. The angriest I've ever been at a was probably that. I guess paying attention or just engagement. Okay, no, there was.
Are you doing the Savage Worlds or the Starfinder?
Oh, there was anger on both of those. Okay, I think the actual angriest I've ever been, because the Savage Worlds one, I was just defeated and was like, I should have just ended it at that point. Whenever I had a player just get up and leave, but I had talked about the laughing problem, where I had there was 4 people in that group, and one person was trying to play the game. And there was just 0 engagement.
Right.
And anytime, even if Matt or Justin was trying to be in the game, there
No
was
one
just that nobody had any interest in
if,
actually playing.
If no one's, and that's totally cool. If no one is into it tonight,
Yeah.
if we're just here because it's if we're like, that's fine. Tell me. Say, hey, let's put a pin in it. We'll play some board games or we'll just.
So Pathfinder has.
Yeah.
Pathfinder has something called the X, and it's in the book, And the X you need to draw out like basically just a big X on a piece of paper. You put it on your table. And if there's a few reasons why you use the X. One, if something gets too uncomfortable for you, you put your hand on the X. The DM goes, okay, we're going to move on. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. The other usage for the X, in my opinion, is being like, the DM just goes, are you guys sure you want to keep playing? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know, when someone touches the X, everybody else fucking shuts up and listens to that person. You know what I mean? It's a mute button.
That's a good rule.
And
I think, I mean, it's totally more insulting for you to keep going, not giving a shit, than you to say, I'm not into it tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
and sometimes you're not into it, and sometimes you might just be distracted or caught up in your own character, or caught up in the situation. You think it's so damn funny, but maybe it's just not that damn funny to someone else, and the X needs to be there for that.
That would, I like that rule too. Damn, I'm getting all sorts of rules. The one other thing I was thinking while you guys were talking, which is not the hot take side of it, is the obvious. Just being a dick.
Yeah.
Like if you are agging on, and it could be that you found that joke funny and you just keep going with it and no one else finds it funny. It could be that like you're poking at someone over and over and over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just singling someone out or whatever it could be, which is just generally like going to piss anyone off in a social situation. But whether it's for your character's fault or whatever, like just being the dick.
Yeah.
Nonstop. Like it's one thing to like.
And trust me, I'm in that a lot. Sometimes I know I'm being the dick, and I usually apologize for being the dick.
If you say a dick statement or something like there's one, but like consistently, just poking at or whatever. Yeah.
Mostly, I poke at people so that they can poke me back. That's literally what I poke at people for. But
if someone
that's what
said,
I
"Hey
expect.
Matt, will you stop?" Like,
I'll be like,
you would stop. See,
sorry. Yeah. Let's keep going. Yeah.
All right. So. What fantasy world? We'll go to like a D&D state world. What fantasy profession would you have?
Oh, what fantasy profession?
I mean, it could be a regular profession in a fantasy world. I mean, obviously. I want to say I'm an enchanter.
Okay.
I want to be an enchanter.
Make things better.
Yeah.
Make things better.
Honestly, I like the idea of being like an office worker in a fantasy world, just having like the same problems we have, but there's also magic involved, and you're like, how did you transport? How did you teleport that?
This?
Why did this
you
house
didn't fill out
burn?
the right form?
What is this garbage? Shoot, I don't know. Probably like
I would not want to be a cop. A fantasy cop is no.
Yeah, cop would suck. I like the idea of being like a herald, being like, oh shit, what happened this time? I gotta go find people to fix this. All right.
Yep.
So a quest giver. I want to be a quest giver.
Matt, I mean, that's a DM's kind of role, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
There you
go. Do you prefer low fantasy or high fantasy?
At the end of the day, high fantasy, but I found myself running plenty of low fantasy too.
High fantasy generally, but I like my high fantasy. I like my high fantasy to feel like D&D and not like Harry Potter.
Fair. Yeah. Fair. Well, it brings in one of my questions, so we'll just jump straight to it. Magic or science, given the option?
Magic.
Science.
Which can be similar, but
I'm
science.
Yeah.
Science, magic.
I mean, you're talking to someone that likes steampunk worlds, so it's really a mix.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They really, science is just a magic if we don't understand it. So, but I would say magic as a whole. I think. If you go low magic, then you often find the science in place with the low magic.
Well, I feel like low magic's really good if you're trying to tell like a serious story where there's not. It can't get too insane, but I feel like or just the flip side of that, high fantasy is really good if you're like, I want to have a fucking like crazy adventure.
I want a dragon rider, and they eat a griffin, and then
they throw fireballs and teleport everywhere.
I think oftentimes players want to. I mean, they want the power and the craziness,
but they want it.
They want the options. That Magic affords. I think most of the time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It's all about the story anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my last one, and then I'll let you guys keep on going if you want to.
Okay.
But the rest of these are kind of throwaways, except for this one. I really want to go with this. What 3 habits do you think that everyone should start doing to improve their DMing? Mine, a dead air a little bit. Mine, reading the room. You should make that a habit.
Strong.
Read the room. If people aren't digging this combat, the next hit, kill it. If people aren't digging this big bad evil guy, kill him or something. And make somebody else that will entertain your party. Read the room.
Stop prepping so much. And I say that very out of context, that's horrible. But outline, don't prep. And embrace the improv, which would kind of be the next habit. Like, practice your improv. Mm-hmm. You know, in improv, and I've never been to an improv class, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But in improv, like, their big rule is never say no.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one rule of improv. Like,
yes and or no but.
You go with what they say. And as a DM, you say no, don't get me wrong. But be ready to roll with it, go with it. Don't get pissed off, just go. Mm-hmm. You got to practice that skill.
Yeah. Honestly, I think I say it's just going to be an echo of that. But honestly, I think just reading, that doesn't have to be like that. It's just on my end. I really like reading and figuring out how stuff is described in really good ways, and then trying to just fit it in. But you can't go as in deep as you do in a book, clearly, or anything like that. But or it gets boring. But practice and just don't be attached to what you have.
Yeah. So I gave.
Don't be attached. Yeah. They're going to throw the book out the window, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Don't be attached.
Yeah. In the first session of my Brightstone campaign, they found like this ogre's den. And they like knocked out the ogre and tied him up, and they started searching his den. They found like his toilet and like where he's been throwing all of his garbage. And they found a chess piece ivory horse, and they found like a rook that was broken, and they found a bishop that was broken. Well, the ivory horse I let them like activate, and now they have like this horse made of like ivory that they can ride for like a couple of hours. Then the magic dissipates. And one of my players is like, I want to find somebody that can fix these other pieces because I want to know what they are. And I did not plan for that. I was like, oh, they're broken, they're innate. But he's really into trying to figure out what the other pieces do. And I'm like, well, all right, let's see what I can do about these other 2 pieces of this chess set. Maybe he fixes the chess set. Maybe someone's looking for those chess pieces. And now we got this whole side mission that he can like try to like find all the chess pieces.
Right.
Or bring them back to their owners.
Maybe like this broken chess piece was a person who got transformed into this, and
and we've mentioned it in a previous guide, I don't remember what cast, one of the episodes, but you can be okay with saying, "I don't know, I'll get back to you." Mm-hmm. So with the improv, be willing to improv. Like, you don't know what all those things do. Be like, we'll work on that.
Yeah, let's work on.
I'm into it. Let's do it. We'll do it later.
Yeah.
On the prepping side of it, so we've all done that as a career for a while, facilitating and whatnot. So
not for much longer.
No comment. No. So we've all done that for a while, and me and Matt have talked about this extensively. Everyone preps differently, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a speech or D&D or whatever. Me and Matt, we've talked about this in our professional and not professional, but it's okay to. It's better to outline, in my opinion. I'm a sponge, so you said read.
Mm-hmm.
I just read and learn, and I sometimes I'll prep, and sometimes I prep too much, and sometimes I don't, and I like doing maps and stuff. And if you look on Reddit, D&D Reddit, or whatever, you'll see like everyone talking about how they get distracted when they should be planning this, they're planning something else and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. Your mind wanders, but as long as you're gaining information back to the improv, it's fine.
I agree.
I'll watch a fantasy movie or read a bunch of the books or just get all these ideas from different places, and I might not even have a solid plan, but I have an idea or an outline, and those things draw in to help me improv what I need to do.
I mean, I spent 2 weeks remaking maps from Dungeon Magazine that I owned when I was a kid.
Right.
And I've done that not to prep any kind of content. I literally done that because I was having fun doing it. And if you are having fun prepping random content, then go and prep random content. Just have fun doing it, and you might use it one day. Just keep it and be like, oh, this would be a really cool place for this dungeon.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have it. Over prep can be a problem. But if you find prep fun, there's nothing wrong with it.
I guess when I say stop prepping, I mean don't try to lay out every
what you're
single
going to do
action or step, because it's not going to work.
No. I planned for 3 things.
Right.
You guys played it. Their whole deal, they had to get into a fort to get a guy out.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I planned for. This is what I planned for: attack the fort. Like at night, throwing a grappling hook over. I planned for them to hijack this delivery of beer, act like the people delivering the beer, get in. And I planned for them buying that guy out of prison with vast amounts of gold by robbing a bank. Those are the 3 things I planned for.
We didn't do any of that.
Didn't do any of it.
We just walked straight in and murdered our way out.
Often that happens, and that's okay.
And that's fine. Because I was like, okay, that's cool. These 3 scenarios, I can put them in my back pocket. I can use them some other time.
And you know where the destination's going,
so
you go with it.
Yep. Right. You just accept that your players have chose a different route, and don't. If my player's like, hey, I'm going to go talk to this guard, so you find yourself in front of a bank. There's a problem there.
You can subtly guide them back.
Yeah.
Nothing annoys me more. I've played with a few different DMs now, and nothing really annoys me more than we talked about earlier, but just being told, no, that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. You can tell me, no, like the guard, or like, I want to go and talk to this guard. Oh, they're not going to talk to you.
Right.
Anything
well,
like
why
that.
wouldn't they talk to me?
Even like, the crazy, like, I want to do something, magical and crazy. Like, I don't find myself saying, nah, it ain't going to work. Or they want to use a skill in an incorrect way or whatever. More often, I'm like, explain to me how that's going to work. Like, what are you thinking? How does that magic spawn in that way, and what does it work? And then you can convince me. And they know that. I'm like, tell me.
I really like if someone is doing...
How does survival work for that?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Take this, for instance. I'm running an Oracle in Andrew's campaign, and he has a spell called Brain Drain. And what Brain Drain does is it gives someone a headache for 1d8 damage, and I can recall knowledge about them. Okay? And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool in combat, because I can be like, hey, I'm gonna eat your thoughts real quick. Oh shit, you put your armor on a little loose today.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe I can get a bonus. And then I'm like, well, how can I use this out and about without someone attacking me? So I'm thinking, like, okay, well, maybe I can roll a deception roll to, like, weave that spell into my normal words and, like, make the shopkeep go, oh, fuck, what is that headache?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, hey, your wife is this person. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So work with your players. Mm-hmm. And that's just what I'm getting at. Is just work with your players. If your player has a good idea, work with them.
And honestly, if I really like dealing with the consequences of what a player does. Yeah. Honestly, like even if it's something that I wasn't like really planning for.
Right.
I like that in the moment of just like, oh shit, what do I do if they kill the boss?
Yeah.
How do the people, like their people, react to seeing their boss dead, or whatever?
Yeah.
The case may
What's
be.
going to happen?
Yeah. I like having that moment of, oh no, okay, let's figure it out.
What does happen when you find out everything's a lie?
Yeah.
What does happen if you are in the door dimension?
you get drove crazy on both sides.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys want to keep going, or
So I got one more question.
Sure.
And then we'll scrap. I have a few, but we'll scrap the rest of them.
okay?
Totally throwaway question, but you are a traveling band of kobold thieves.
Oh,
What is your group name?
The bold kobolds.
The shallow breaths, because they cannot use breath attacks in Pathfinder, and they're like really short range.
Oh, shallow
Fair.
breaths coming soon to a world near you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can stop there. You got another one?
I only had I have a few more. It's a fight one. I just it can be real quick. Geralt versus Dracula. Who wins that fight?
Okay, so Geralt honestly cannot handle real fucking vampires. Like real, like I don't know. Like he can fight the vampires. We see Geralt
Yeah.
fight vampires that are in like bestial form. But if he ever fights things like outside when they're just like true vampires and they're like in their human forms, he's like, I can't keep up with this.
Right.
He just can't. Like he's done it a couple times, but he's like injured them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it would be quite difficult for him, I think.
I mean, that one true vampire that if you go down that route and go meet him, Geralt's like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna close that coffin back. It's y'all's problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably lean toward Dracula too. I mean, of course, it depends on the Dracula and what's going on, but you know,
it's true. Well, okay, what about Strahd?
That's what I came to because he's just fucking a weird Dracula.
Yeah.
Strahd, well, is complicated. But I mean, Strahd would win.
Yeah.
Especially in his domain, which is a whole thing. He is the land and
But would
controls
Geralt
the weather.
would Geralt be allowed allow himself to get pulled into that domain or?
So that's why I say it's a complicated question.
Sure,
So
Geralt
Strahd,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Geralt.
no
has
one
that Batman
wanders
problem.
into that domain. Strahd brings them. So would he bring
okay.
them? Would he bring Geralt unless he
To
really
play with?
To play with, maybe. But that'd be the only reason. Because they only come that way. And
Well,
I
I'm
don't
going
know-
to tell you, if Yennefer is there, Geralt would be there.
Right.
Yeah.
So Strahd wouldn't grab Geralt; he would grab Yennefer.
But then you have a Yennefer and Geralt fighting Strahd. You have a magic wielder
So,
and Geralt fighting.
You know, we have to
Yeah,
contemplate
that's right.
power levels of something that's not in D&D, but
Yeah.
so the what is his name? Elmister.
Yeah.
From D&D.
Forgotten
Level
Realms.
20 plus Forgotten Realms wizard. He was Gary Gygax's character. Lost to Strahd
Yeah.
in the book.
Oh damn.
So we're looking at an over level 20 spellcaster who lost in a man-to-man fight. Okay. Now, he damaged Strahd. I mean, he did a really good combat, but ended.
Okay.
So if we I mean, how strong is Yennefer to that level?
Yeah. You have to look at that too.
I'm talking about level 20 wizard plus.
I feel like the scales there are twisted because Geralt Yennefer's really strong in the Witcher world, but
Right.
I don't think Witcher magic
Is her magic paltry compared to
D&D
Right.
stuff.
D&D magic?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so Strahd is powered by a dark god. Spoilers. And that's why
Gasp!
more complicated. He can't die, and that without extreme things which happen throughout the story, to kill him. Like killing him doesn't kill him.
Right.
The god will resurrect him.
Right.
Even when you
Is it instant, or is it take?
So
time?
the way it's written and not explicitly laid out. So he turned to a vampire by a dark god. The dark god resides in that world with him.
Okay.
They're called the Dark Powers. There's several of them. And he lives in a demi-plane of evil, which is where Ravenloft sits. There's several demi-planes of evil. He lives in one. It's encompassed by this mist and all this. And he owns that domain essentially. He's the king of that domain because they keep him there. The ways you can defeat him are to usurp him by letting the god make you the king of that domain, releasing him from his contract. Right. You have to be the right lineage and the right blah blah blah, like this. Okay. Defeating him, which is no easy task. Because as a vampire, he already regenerates and turns to mist and comes back in 3 days and does all this other mess. But true death to him is not true death. It's implied that because he reincarnates and so does his love, and he's trapped by this dark god to relive his worst nightmare over and over and over for the rest of eternity. That's why it's the curse of Strahd. It's his curse, not your curse.
Yeah.
Right.
He is cursed to live here and hate it and be bored for the rest of his life and never get his love.
Right.
So when he...
So Geralt will try to talk his way out of this situation.
Right. Yeah.
That's how Geralt wins.
If Geralt unraveled the mystery and understood
and he's good at that.
Yeah.
Right. And understood that fighting Strahd's not going to work because it won't.
Yeah.
But connecting him with the dark power, ending the dark powers, finding someone to usurp him, which is an option, ending the curse, therefore releasing
also
him,
good at that,
would be applicable. And Strahd even would not could contemplate helping him in the curse if it was something that could happen at the end of the day. So one-on-one fight, no, but
it would be an interesting adventure for him and his band.
The book is written. The book is written and not implicitly supplied that when the players defeat Strahd, they're released from the demi-plane and they move on with their lives. But then Strahd is resurrected and it continues.
Yeah,
they win, but it can. His curse continues. The gods hold him.
Yeah,
so he doesn't act like.
Yeah,
they're free.
It's. That would be it. So if you read Strahd, the first dungeon's the house, right?
Yeah, it's
the old house,
the optional death house. Yeah, it's optional.
And a lot of that stuff is very Witcher-like.
Right.
Figuring out why these ghost children died, figuring out, unraveling that mystery. It's stuff that Geralt would do. Just kind of anyway.
Just being himself.
So, I don't know. That would be... I honestly think you could take Strahd, rework it, and put it into a Witcher game, way in the past. Right. Yeah. And it would work. I actually think that would work pretty well.
Unraveling the truth,
And that's what...
Because, from the very beginning, you set up Strahd as undefeatable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about unraveling the truth,
All right, that's a good
he's
take.
A fucker, but he's not.
That's a long take, but that's a good take.
Yeah. So, this has been Hot Takes. We have a handful more. We're going to scrap them. Maybe we'll do it another time. If you guys enjoyed this, let us know.
Yeah.
If you have other crazy hot take questions.
And even to games, D&D 5, Pathfinder 2 is our main games. I have been looking into Dungeon World as a possibility, running a one-shot in Dungeon World, because I really like that really simple system. So maybe think about that too. But yeah, that's been Hot Takes.
Yeah. So I am Edward, i.e. Sergeant Baggy Pants. If you're on the video, it's beneath me on the screen.
Yeah.
We've been streaming more and more, doing things from the Groundbreakers page, but you can check us out.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a recording of us playing Gloomhaven for the first time, and probably several times thereafter.
Yeah.
And Nat 20 printing is a thing I'm doing. Printing all sorts of minis and whatnot. If you have a custom mini you want printed, hit us up. Nat 20 printing.
Yeah.
All right. I am Andrew, and my name is actually under Matt in this video.
It is.
Yeah.
Just flip those.
Yeah. And I'm generally just on here. I've been thinking about streaming or doing some book reviews.
That would be interesting. That would be more your thing.
Like-
Until Cyberpunk comes out, that's
Yeah,
probably
I think-
more your
I think
thing.
we should
Yeah.
review Gloomhaven after we're done.
Okay.
Like a session 1 review.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, if I end up doing that, it'll probably be Dexter Hawkins on something because that's my name. If you find me on Xbox or I have a Twitch that I hardly use, anything like that. But other than that, I'm standard.
Yeah, and I'm Matt, Captain Phipps, most places except our Twitch page, which is now just Groundbreakers RPG. So if Groundbreakers is streaming, 9 times out of 10, you're getting this guy. I stream a variety of different video games and map creations and painting. My painting stream has been called Incredibly Chill by my audience before. So come check it out.
Incredibly chill.
Yeah. Veronica says that I'm essentially the Bob Ross of miniatures. So I talk a lot about. So the last miniature stream I've done, we painted a like a champion, like a knight in armor with a spear, and I made backstory for this guy as I was painting. Like, what did he do? You know what I mean? And
That's cool.
We worked
That's
on that kind of
cool.
stuff.
It's funny you mentioned that. I did have one more.
Okay.
And that is, if you're talking about minis,
Okay.
do you prefer your minis? I know you paint more realistic, but do you like the look of very vibrant colors and
shoot.
contrasts? Or do you want it to be more realistic?
So, damn, I am super, super impressed with people's paints directions when they paint like the Borderlands style, and they paint with these super just heavily contrast, you can see it across the table contrast. I'm super impressed, and that's just not my painting style. My painting style is more muted and realistic tones, mostly because of the lighting that I use, and I need to start upping that. Whatever I think is too bright, I need to brighten it more. And that is something I need to work on because I want to try that. But I'm super impressed with people that paint in cartoony styles. I've even seen anime paint jobs where it's just pastels and brightness, and it's beautiful. And I need to learn that. I need to learn that kind of stuff.
Fair enough. So we've got a lot of things coming soon. This is season 2, episode 2.
Yes.
Raw footage. We'll have a cut version come out sometime later, because you'll probably get this around or before season 1 comes out, which is crazy. Episode 1 comes out.
Episode 1, yeah.
But we've got a lot of things in the works with our current world we're building and working together. So stay tuned for that, because we are working tirelessly on campaign settings and
A pretty cool project.
maps and all sorts of stuff. So please stay tuned to that. We'll reveal more as we get closer to it.
Yeah.
Till then,
we are
The Groundbreakers.
the Groundbreakers.
The Groundbreakers.
Wait!
Groundbreakers.
I gotta pee.
Actually, can we record